Welcome to the Victors Nation podcast. We are live. I am your host, Jason Robinson. With me, Derek McCarty and Dre Fame. Good Lord, we are already in the back half of the season. Go Blue Boys. Hope I
Go
quit.
blue. Go blue. Everyone, we were all Oregon Duck fans this past weekend. Oregon obviously cheated in order to win this past weekend.
Should be an asterisk on that game.
There should be. There should be.
We're getting the hammer first, so just hold on, Oregon. We're first.
So we gotta pull a page out of the Buckeyes book here, and I guess talk about Ohio State when we intro a Michigan podcast. But you know what? Hey, I feel like Oregon honestly cheated worse than Jim Harbaugh did with any of the sign stealing allegations by taking advantage of a loophole, right, a gray area. I feel like Dan Lanning, or Oregon's coach, should probably get suspended by the Big Ten for the sportsmanship policy. Even though there's a gray area in the rule, I feel like that would be probably the most fair outcome here.
Just wait until he's on a plane, though. I don't know if they got a road game this week. Just wait until he's on the plane and then let him find out on social media. Big Ten too. Idiots. So dumb.
Oh man.
But that was the on a bye week. I don't know about
quack.
I don't know about you guys, but on a bye week, I honestly there's a lot of college football that I didn't watch, but I did watch that game. That wife is 37 weeks pregnant, so spent a lot of the weekend prepping my house for a additional child to be coming home here in the near future.
Yep.
So ended my weekend where I watched a lot less college football than I typically do. Ended it on a good note with Ohio State losing. But enough Ohio State. We'll worry about them when we get Ryan Day fired at the end of the season. And right now, let's take a little time and talk about Michigan football. Let's take some time and look ahead. So through 6 weeks of the season, sitting at 4-2, which is honestly a very, very fair record for how we've played this weekend. But
yes,
a lot of things to correct. It doesn't necessarily meet the expectations that we thought we were going to get out of Michigan football this season. I feel like there's a lot of us that we're looking to probably see a step back in some areas. There's a lot of unknowns, but there's a lot of things that we were hoping would be better. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about what does Michigan need to do looking ahead the rest of the season. What does Michigan need to do to get back on track on both sides of the ball? Even special teams, if we want to throw it in there, even though the kicking game's probably been the biggest strength of the team so far this year. But Jason, I'll start with you. Looking ahead on the offensive side of the ball, what does Michigan need to do to get back on track to get us towards our goals? Because in reality, we still have every single goal in front of us the rest of the year.
We do. Yeah, we do. So we got to play a full game. We got to create a forward pass. I know we talked about it, but the play calling has to get creative as well too. But now that we have Tuttle, he's officially starting this week. Now that we have Tuttle, probably can see the field a little bit better. Probably can throw a better ball and can throw an actual forward pass to extend the drives down the field. These wide receivers need to start creating separation as well too. So the talent's there on offense. I mean, we're going to get to defense as well too. The talent for sure is there on defense, but we got a little issue there, for real. But we got to be able to extend the ball and create long drives. We are at times putting our defense this season in short yard positions. Can't have that anymore. It's got to go. It's not helping out the defense. We got our own issues and our own kinks to fix there. we're going to be kind of repeating some of the same stuff a little bit as well too. But just looking into this week against Illinois, but it's got to get better. The play calling, our wide receivers creating separation and getting downfield and getting open. It can't just be Mullins. It can't just be Mullen. Positive note, I think the offensive line actually improved a little bit. I know we talked about it a little bit already last week, but there's some definite bright spots there, right? So I'm excited to see what they're going to do against Illinois and then the rest of the season. But as far as coaching goes, I mean, we're not used to losing. We talked about it last week. It's got to still be that culture still has to be there. That coaching aspect still has to be there. That physicality still has to be there. That right mindset has to be there. Derek, you already said it. I already have it in my notes. We already talked about it before we went live. All of our goals are still ahead of us, and we got a real tough second half of the schedule here. Real tough. Well, that's what I want to see on offense for the rest of the season. So I know it's somewhat broad, but, you know, we got a lot of things to fix yet on that side of the ball, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there is, right? It doesn't feel like we've actually created an identity on the offensive side of the ball, which is out of the ordinary because the whole Jim Harbaugh era, we had an identity that we lived by, that we breathed by on the offensive side of the football. And even in years where we did not have the strongest quarterback play, we still lived and breathed the identity of being what Ryan Day wants to be, being a tough team, right? Being tough on the offensive line and running the football and controlling the clock and eliminating mistakes. And that's not what we've demonstrated so far this year. Dre, what about you on the offensive side of the ball? What do you think we need to see offensively to right the ship and get to where we want to get to the rest of the season? Thought Dre was just being really still. Thought he was being really still, but it appears that he froze. Yep, there he goes.
Dropped off.
Dre will be back on at some point in time. All right, so I agree with a lot of what you were talking about, Jason, as far as offensively what we need to do. We've got to play 4 quarters of offense. We've got to play 4 quarters of mistake-free football. Identity-wise, you know, I think one of the things that I really want to see is through the bye week, what has this team created as their identity with Tuttle at quarterback? I feel like with Tuttle at quarterback, we're probably going to be able to run more of the full offense that is in the playbook. And that's what I want to see. I want to see route concepts being run downfield. I want to see Donovan Edwards being heavily involved in the passing game. I want to see Khalil Mullins and Donovan Edwards consistently on the field at the same time and utilizing Edwards as the weapon that he is, where he can line up in the backfield sometimes. He can line up in the slot sometimes. He can run routes out of the backfield. I want to see more creativity on offense.
Yes.
But, you know, another thing that has kind of started to maybe make a little more sense is some of the coaches have said in their interviews that there's more that they want to show, but the players got to be able to execute it. And I think that it's multifaceted. I think that players have to continue to be put into the best position to succeed. And I think that for me, when I look at what's the best position for the players to succeed, that means that you've got your best players on the field as frequently as possible. And that's why I want to consistently see Edwards and Mullins on the field together. That's why I want to see, we saw Donovan Edwards as a freshman be utilized as a weapon out of the backfield and then never again after that. Like, what is the deal? Let's go back to throwing some passes to him. Let's get him matched up on linebackers and let him get open and get the ball to him in space. I want to see that. I want to see. So when I was watching the Oregon-Ohio State game this past weekend, Oregon's receiver, I can't think of his name. I need to. They have a little fast receiver that is like a clone of Samaj Morgan. And they use all types of gadget plays to get him the ball in space, and they use him as a deep threat, throwing the ball downfield. Tez, what was his name? Does anyone remember? I'll have to pull it up. Anyways, I'll pull it up and
is that the guy that spit on the Buckeye player?
No, not that guy. No, we don't need to replicate that guy. But I want to see some more creativity because you've got a real weapon in him, and let's keep scheming. Let's keep scheming Colston Loveland to get open, right? Colston Loveland should be the focal point of our passing offense, and if Penn State can scheme their tight end to catch like 75 passes in one game, we should be doing the same thing with Colston Loveland. Penn State's tight end is gonna be looked at as the best tight end in the country, and that's not true because Colston Loveland's the best tight end in the country. It's just unfortunate that Michigan hasn't been able to throw the ball for 100 yards in a game, so we're not able to actually load up his stats to the capacity that he should be. So I want to see out of our offense, I want to see creativity, I want to see identity, I want to see their best players on the field together. And that includes Edwards and Mullins. And I want to see better execution off the offensive line. They do it for 2 quarters.
We haven't seen a full game all year, but I mean, we talked about it already too, like real quick, like Edwards, like he is a passing threat, right? And he's a threat to come out of the backfield and potentially throw the ball a little bit downfield. We've seen it in the Big Ten championship game, and we saw it with a back pass to J.J. McCarthy in the Rose Bowl game. The fact that they're not just throwing both him and Mullins out there as an idea or an Edwards slot, Mullins stays in the backfield, there's a big part of coaching here that's missing with Kirk. Come on, man. You do have some of these weapons, and just because you're not going to run that play with them, the defense is going to double guess that. Why are we not seeing these formations? It just blows my mind. That is a huge question in our offense with creative play calling. Why? I just don't get it, dude. Even if you don't run the damn play with them, you have the players to make the defense think about it. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Same. But I think that's what needs to get fixed. I think that we can't. So that, and then a big thing is that we can't turn the ball over anymore. Right? We've got to limit the mistakes. We've got to limit. We've got to limit the turnovers. Through 6 games, we have more turnovers than we had all of last season. So we've got to reduce the mistakes. In addition to turnovers, we've got to reduce like the penalties and the missed assignments. We've got to play assignment sound football. If we play assignment sound football and get beat, that's one thing, right? If the guy on the other side of the line of scrimmage is just better and wins that play, that's one thing that's going to happen. But the missed assignments have been killer. The people that aren't doing what they're supposed to do, that aren't where they're supposed to be, whether it's receivers not running the correct routes, quarterbacks not putting the ball in the correct location, running backs missing a blitz pickup, or offensive linemen missing their assignment. We hardly ever saw that stuff last year, and we've just seen it consistently, time after time, on the offensive side of the ball all year. And like I said, we've strung together maybe 2.5 good quarters per game, but we haven't strung together 4 good quarters, and we need to. Our offense has to be able to go out and score some points.
Yeah, it's going to be a real pain in the ass if we don't get this stuff like fixed. I mean, we have the bye week, but I mean, the next 6 games are going to be a really bad challenge. I mean, it's just not going to be. It's going to be tough. It's really going to be tough. We're really going to see what this team is made of culture-wise this weekend. And that's, and it's, right. I think it's going to dictate the rest of the year. Right. Unfortunately, I mean, I don't know.
And that's something that, so just so everyone knows, Dre, sounds like there's a storm going through by Dre.
Issues with the storm, yeah.
So he'll probably be popping in and out. And hopefully he can get keep his internet working. But in the meantime, we'll keep rolling. But we did talk about that last week a little bit, right? How do you respond to losing? Do you get defeated and tuck your tail, or do you build off of it, right? So
Yes.
losing to Texas, that was one thing. Texas is a really good team, right? And it was week 2. Texas had a lot of people back, a lot of talent back. For the most part, the same coaching staff from last year back this year. That just happens sometimes, right? That kind of reminded me just of the Georgia game in the playoffs where Texas just kind of outcoached us just a little bit and outplayed us just a little bit. There were still a lot of mistakes and a lot of things we could have done to be better in that game. But the loss to Washington, I think that was a tough one. I've been a player in games like that before where you're better than the team that you played and you just lost to them. And you know that you can watch film and all you're going to do is see all the mistakes that you made to lose that game. And that one is hard to swallow. So when that happens, especially with a bunch of young kids that aren't used to losing because they've barely lost the last couple of seasons, and that outside of the TCU game, they haven't, well, TCU and Michigan State in 2021, really games that they should have won. But how do they respond? Do they respond by building and getting better and utilizing that loss to make themselves drive towards another championship? Or do they respond by getting defeated, by making things worse, by letting one loss turn into 2 losses, right? That's what I want to see on offense is how do they respond? How do they respond when the first half of the season did not meet expectations for what Michigan football is supposed to look like? How do they respond when they just lost a game where it was a complimentary loss? It was a loss on both sides of the ball. But a lot of what people are pointing to is the fact that 6 weeks through the season, now we're going into our 7th game with our 3rd starting quarterback of the year, right? That the offense has to take some ownership on some of this. The coaches do, but the players do from an execution standpoint. And now how do they respond to that? How do they respond to that adversity?
Yep. So I think this weekend it's going to dictate the back half of the second half of the season. I mean, it really is. So we'll see. I mean, coaching's got to be there. I mean, God, I really don't want to keep talking about it, but there's certain packages on offense and the formations and the certain players that are not out there. We got to see Edwards, Mullins out there at the same time. Edwards as a passing threat. It just blows my mind. But let's just move on because I'm just gonna keep going and going. It just pisses me off. I just don't get it.
Well, we'll keep going and going here, and we'll keep going and going on defense.
Yep.
But hold on, Dre, you back? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear y'all. My
All
bad.
right.
It's a real bad storm going on. It's cutting up real
you're
bad
good.
outside. So.
Cool. So we were just finishing up talking about offense and what offense needs to do to get back on track for the rest of the season. Any thoughts, any input from your perspective on what you want to see out of the offense to get back on track?
I didn't hear any of you guys' feedback, so I don't know if this was said, but we got to be more creative, man.
Yeah, we said that.
I was watching college football. Oh, okay.
Keep going. No, keep going.
Yeah, keep
Keep going. We said it.
But no, I was watching. I was watching college. It was just a lot of creativity around the board from everybody. I was seeing tight end screens and just all types of stuff that I'm like, oh, we got the weapons to do this. Why we not doing this? Like, I just want to know, like, what changed from last year to this year as in play calling? I understand it's a new regime and you know what I'm saying, but Sharon Moore was the play caller last year, correct? Am I correct?
Yeah.
On offense. So I think I don't know if he just gave it up to Kurt or he was just not calling plays at all, but I think he should get back to calling the plays or at least put his hand back in the plays because like Jim had his hand in Sharon plays. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that was Sharon's scheme, but you know, we running because of Jim. But I think Sharon needs to put his hand in the scheme a little bit more. Cause Kurt Campbell, I hate to talk bad on people, man. Cause I love, we love this program and we love everything about this program, to the players, to the coaches. But Kurt, man, he's just not it for me. He not doing it for me, man. Just seeing all of this new and innovative offense that's going around in college football, and I'm just like, it's like we stuck in the ice age with him. So no disrespect to the man. He's a great guy. You know what I'm saying? I met the guy, talked to him a little bit. He's a great guy. But I just with this play calling, it's a lot to be desired. And all I can say is we'll see here from going on here forward. We'll see now that Tuttle's in. Maybe it was the lack of quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Play. Maybe. But like I said, we'll see, man. I'm excited to go to this ruckus environment in Illinois, and hopefully my boys can do good this weekend.
Yeah.
But I know one thing. Hold on, real quick. I know one thing. I know we can't lose to Illinois in them ugly ass jerseys, dog. I'll be so mad.
Oh,
Hey, y'all
I
seen
forgot
jerseys
about
they
that.
wearing?
Yeah, I've seen it. It looks like, I mean, you might as well just actually wear the leather helmet. That might look better than the shit you're putting on, like, for real. Like, it looks horrible.
Man. All right, man. If we lose to them with that ugly ass jersey, I'm gonna be so mad. So mad.
I mean, Ohio State looks like shit regardless, but these are like pretty bad. These are pretty rough. Yeah. But I agree with what Dre just said, and reiterating. I mean, we talked about it. So Dre, I mean, I still think it is a part of coaching regardless. I mean, why is Edwards not even out there as some type of threat to pass the ball or a slot receiver or something? It's just the formation and the talent that you have to keep the defense guessing. It's not doing it for me, regardless of who the quarterbacks were. Like, third time's a charm. We got Tuttle, he's starting, but still, I'm still not into the coaching. You can't tell me you're not throwing Edwards out there on some type of package like to as a passing threat. Like, I don't get it. We're not seeing this shit. So we'll see, I guess.
I was watching on YouTube, you know what I'm saying? Thank you everybody for watching too. But I was watching on YouTube when I was trying to get the connection back together, and I heard Derek say, we haven't used Donovan how we used him in his freshman year, and I agree. But I'm asking you guys, is that scheme or coaching, or is that quarterback play? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think it's coaching. Because last
year we didn't need him to do it. Obviously, you know what I'm saying. We did it a little bit when we needed, but we had a plethora of wide receivers and Colston Loveland, and we was running down people's throats, so we really wasn't tripping on that. But our first year, JJ was getting his feet wet, so you know what I'm saying. He had all the weapons and things like his exposure. You know what I'm saying. I think that's what they need to do for Tuttle. You know what I'm saying. Bring all of that back. But is that, like I said, that's not. I don't think, is that Kurt Campbell or is that Sharon Moore? Like, I mean, Sharon Moore was at the head for them 2 years we talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of thought about that too, but like, regardless of like who the quarterback was, like, you think with Warren and Orgy, love the guys, but you think with them being at quarterback, you'd still want to put Donovan Edwards as a slot receiver, or Mullins and Edwards combo kind of like
but at the same time, if we can't throw it more than 5-6 yards, what's the point? It's no point of bringing it out if we can't throw 5-6 yards down the field.
It still makes the defense think.
I was watching Blue by 90 earlier, and they gave a stat. I think we like 132, and I forgot what stat. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we talked.
Like, what is going on? That is a big jump from last year.
We mentioned that ranking last week. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, high as in not good.
Like, man, it's
right, low. High as in low.
Like, it's crazy. It's like, I'm like, Jesus Christ, what is going on with us? Like, I don't understand it, man. Like, and I'm just sitting back like watching these other games, like the Oregons and Ohio States, for instance. Bro, the players that they was pulling off, I'm just like, bro, why we can do this? Like, why we can't do
I think it's
this,
a
bro?
mixture of
I
both, like
understand
what
we
we
want to
talked about
run,
last week, but
but we need to do both. Like, we can't just have this one-dimensional offense when not throwing the ball. And like I said, hopefully Toto opens up the playbook a lot more, because baby, how we've been looking looking vanilla all damn season, and I've been telling y'all, hey, we're gonna be vanilla to do this and do that, but that excuse is washed up to the river by now, buddy. Because
I mean, we
Big
haven't
Ten
played a
play,
full
man.
game.
Got everything
We
in
haven't
front
played
of
a
us,
full
man.
game.
We can't let these games slip away, because I mean, we still in the Big Ten championship race with one, you know what I'm saying, even with 2 losses. We're gonna need some help, obviously, but it's not out of the question. Like, we still got a long season to
UNC
go.
really shit the
You know
bed
what I'm
on that
saying?
one, but Penn State still plays Ohio State. But yeah, I agree. Our
Ohio
doors are still
State,
ahead of us, but
exactly.
the door's still open.
Man, see,
Yeah.
and then
But-
we still play. We play Iowa and not Iowa, but Oregon and
Indiana.
Illinois. I mean Indiana. So like we still can, you know what I'm saying, can get there. It just depends on how the season shakes out. But with this play calling, man, is I'm gonna say is real iffy.
It's
real
bad.
iffy, man.
There's a lot of questions.
It does, and here's the thing I'll elaborate on a little bit, right? So, coaching has to always, in my opinion, not saying that players shouldn't be held accountable for execution or lack of execution, or preparation or lack of preparation, but certainly no disrespect meant by anything that we talk about as far as coaches falling short, because there's a standard that's been created now with our expectation of what we're going to get out of our coaches, right? And so that standard's hard to meet, but that's when you sign that contract to be a coach at Michigan, and that's your career and that's your job, and there's a fan base that is as passionate as Michigan's fan base is. That there's going to be accountability that's held on coaches and how coaches are performing, and we see that with Kirk Campbell and with Wink Martindale, and a little bit with Sharon Moore. I think he's still, I'm not off the Sharon Moore bandwagon by any means, but he is the head man, so he's the leader to right the ship, and to take control of the things that need control. Now, offensively, with Donovan Edwards, with what you were talking about, Dre, I think part of it is a lack of creativity. I think that so here, Donovan Edwards is a great football player. I think Khalil Mullins has shown that he's the best running back on the roster, right? And that means that Khalil Mullins should be the primary back that is carrying the ball, and Edwards should be his change of pace, and that's fine, because they can be a 1A 1B running back duo. But Edwards should be on the field. And so I'm a San Francisco 49ers fan. And the way that the 49ers use Deebo Samuel in that wide back role, it's really challenging for defenses, because a lot of times defenses use the personnel that's on the field on the offensive side of the ball to decide what personnel they have on the field, right? So certain personnel packages offensively will dictate 3 linebackers being out on the field, and certain personnel packages will dictate 2 linebackers and a nickel back coming out on the field, and having 5 defensive backs. If the way the 49ers use Deebo Samuel, he can line up at halfback, he can line up at receiver, and he can be effective at both positions. I would like to see some creativity where Donovan Edwards is used in a similar role, where he is on the field and he's playing multiple positions and being moved around, because that's going to create mismatches for the defense, and that's going to create challenges for the defense from a personnel matching standpoint. Because are they, if Donovan Edwards and Khalil Mullins are in the game at the same time with probably 2 tight ends, are they in 22 personnel or are they in 21 personnel? Which would be 2 tight ends, 1 running back, or 2 tight ends, 2 running backs, right? What personnel are they in? How is the defense supposed to play that? I would like to that's really challenging on defense, and that's where I think there's some coaching creativity that's not being utilized to maximize the most talented players. And here's the thing of lining him up at receiver and putting him in motion and putting him in the backfield and getting him matched up on a linebacker. Our receivers have underperformed this year, right? So there's not a receiver last year. So looking back to why didn't we do it last year? We had Roman Wilson and Cornelius Johnson the last 2 years. Roman Wilson, Cornelius Johnson last year. 2 years ago, Roman Wilson, Cornelius Johnson, Ronnie Bell, right? So we had really talented players that were some really good receivers out on the field that you can't really take off the field, right? So I think that it is a little bit on the coaches for not having the offensive creativity to leverage the explosive playmaking ability of Donovan Edwards, while also leveraging the ability of Khalil Mullins as a pure running back.
Way to block him.
My man Corey always come through with the love, man.
All right,
Shout
so
out CP, man.
Go below Corey.
For
Love
sure.
Thanks, Corey. I keep myself looking young. I'll tell you what, though.
I still got
I
ID
know
too.
I do still get ID'd. Wait, was that at the minute? Did I get ID'd at the Minnesota game last year at Buffalo Wild
I
Wings?
think so.
Yes, you did.
I'll go to
Yes, you
Quick
did.
Trip. I'm
Yes,
going to
you
like
did.
Circle K or Quick Trip and still get ID'd.
Yeah.
When if I got rid of this, I would be looking like I'm in 5th grade. I'm not kidding.
Yeah. Gotta stay looking young.
Good. Yeah.
Cool. Well, we beat the offensive thing to death here.
We need to go ahead and quit bullshitting and go to the baby face like Derek. We need to just wax it off like Derek. Just go ahead and just clean face out here.
Yeah, let me get rid of this double. Let me get rid of this double chin first.
I'll tell you what,
Get rid of this
Dre. Dre, I know that you've been hanging out with Connor Stallions at the tailgates and stuff. I'll tell you what, if you get him to come on a podcast with us, I'll grow a mustache. I'll get rid of the baby face and I'll grow a mustache. Just for Connor Stallions.
I'll definitely try to do that. I won't be seeing him this weekend. I don't think he's going to Illinois, but I'll talk to him around Michigan State time. You know, I'll definitely ask him.
So speaking of that,
that'd be epic.
So speaking of that, I feel like everyone's probably had the chance to watch the Netflix documentary at this point. And if anyone hasn't, if you go and listen to the Bussin' with the Boys podcast with Connor on it as their guest, man, that was an awesome interview that he gave on that podcast, and a lot of things that he talked about that just continue to make me feel like Dan Lanning broke a bigger rule than he did. I truly think that he's just good. Like he talked about how Frank Clark, the former Michigan player, defensive end for the Chiefs, was letting Connor basically provide him with all of his analysis, and Connor basically broke down film of the 49ers before the Super Bowl and basically knew almost 100% of the time based off of what Joe Staley was doing, how he was lining up, if they're running the ball or passing the ball.
Yep.
So just incredible attention to the detail.
Hey, you know what's so crazy about that, bro? Well, I got to do breakfast with him like a couple weeks ago, and he was telling me about that, and I'm just like, what? Like what? I'm like, man, the stories this man was telling us, man, I'm just like, bro, you smarter than a mug, bro. Like I don't understand, like yo, my fandom is crazy, but bro, you on a whole nother level with this, dog. Like, and I'm just, man, the story. I mean, bro, if he was comfortable enough to come on this podcast and be able to really just tell some stories, bro, y'all would be so blown away by the stuff that he would provide. Like it's just the stories I hear from me, man. It's insane, bro. Like it's insane. Y'all would be blown away, man. Like the documentary really ain't even that just shed light on what he like to do for real. Like dog, like man, the man is brilliant. I can't really say nothing bad about him. I understand a lot of people don't like him because of the negative light he brought to Michigan. But
I think it's more negative because of what the NCAA was trying to do to Jim and not Michigan. They had an opening and they took it. So nothing's really going to happen to us. It's just fan bases like Ohio State that need to bitch about every single loss they take, and they have to justify it's another reason. And that's how they live their personal lives as well too. And they can laugh at that as well too. But that fan base is absolutely just pathetic. Basically,
but yeah, that's my guy, man. I don't have a bad thing to say about him. Very, like I said, very smart guy. Very approachable. Very like for somebody that be in his position and is going through all of this scrutiny, he is very humble. I can't say a bad thing about the man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Every time he around me, it's always love and like I said, nothing but respect for everybody. He talks to everyone. He treats everybody the same. It's not like a bad vibe around him. Like I swear to God, I wish you guys was here, man, and be able to meet him too.
I'd like to meet him next year, but like I said, I think the NCAA is just making him look worse than he already is, and it's really unfair.
For sure.
He's a person,
for sure.
It's
because
of Jim trying to get into their pocketbooks. It's all
the players adore him, bro. Like I said, when we did the little breakfast the week, all the players that came around and they love that man. So, like I said, I can't say nothing bad about him. I won't say nothing bad about him. He's a friend of mine. So. Shout out my boy Stallions, baby.
Yeah, it's just all the drama. So thanks for the feel for us for winning a natty, pussies. Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Corey asked a question here. Corey, we're going to get to this question a little bit later in the podcast, so don't leave because we'll answer it. But you asked a question a couple weeks ago, and that's going to relate to talking about Connor Stallions and talking about his interview on Bussin' with the Boys. So I don't even know if Corey remembers this, but he asked us about the transfer portal and how Michigan wasn't able to really get a whole lot out of the transfer portal. And Connor was asked that on that interview, and he made a really good point about the timing of the transfer portal and how teams that are playing in the playoffs, they're really kind of SOL when it comes to hitting the transfer portal, because when the transfer portal's open, teams that aren't in the playoffs, they don't have a game to prepare for. So they're out trying to recruit these transfers, while the teams that are in the playoffs, they're preparing for playoff games. So
and me and him talked about that too. He told with Washington. I asked him. I said, so yeah, but we played Washington, and Washington, you know what I'm saying, they got a couple transfers. He said, you gotta think about it, man. Like them kids wanted to go there. Like, you know what I'm saying? That was already, if I'm going to transfer, I already got a school in my mind that I'm going to transfer to. That was the school that they was already going to transfer to. It really ain't take no effort. And you know what I'm saying? It took a little recruiting, obviously, you know what I'm saying? But it ain't take that much to get them there. So, but the window is slim when you in the playoffs playing for national championships. I think this offseason, if we don't go far in the playoffs or if we don't reach the national championship, I think our transfer portal will be way better than this year. I mean, even though we pulling in a good class and we still, you know what I'm saying, doing a lot of great things in the recruiting trail, but I think we're gonna hit the portal real hard because our turnover going to be way more than what it was this year.
Yep. Our intent is going to be there. Especially looking at the fact, because this will segue us to talk about what defense needs to do the rest of the season to get back on track. But we're looking at potentially 4 first-round draft picks on defense this year with Will, with Josiah Stewart, and then with Kenneth Grant, Mason Graham, right? So our defense, we thought coming into this season was going to be the thing that kept us in games. Our offense was where we had question marks and hope that we'd see development throughout the course of the season. And the defensive side of the ball, that's where things have been pretty disappointing. Now, things have been pretty disappointing while Will Johnson is still on track to be a first-round draft pick, and while our pass rush and our defensive line is actually playing really, really well. Josiah Stewart, I think, is PFF's highest-graded edge rusher right now. And he's just absolutely dominated the line of scrimmage.
Congrats on getting captain, too.
Yeah, Josiah Stewart got promoted to captain.
Let me ask you this, right? So I've been reading a couple of things on the internet, and I don't know how true this is, but the Indiana wide receiver transfer, he is interested in us, or we're interested in him. Now, when he transferred already, do he join us this season, or is that next season he joins us?
I'd be next season.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Okay, I was confused. Like, so if they transfer in the middle of the season, do they transfer? Okay.
With NCAA changing some stuff, you can leave, like you can transfer out earlier now, and I think they're getting rid of like signing your national letter of intent as well too. So you're gonna see the transfer portal move a lot quicker. No, I mean it's gonna be the end of them pretty soon.
And then I was reading something else that in 2025 we start what is it
revenue sharing.
Revenue sharing. So I think that's gonna be a big boost for Michigan. I mean, that's gonna help a lot of teams, but
right. Well, it'll help a handful more than the rest, but
yeah, you know what I'm saying. They help a little bit more people than the rest. So So can we plant Pam and we still and they still get NILs too?
Yeah, I think that.
Should,
which is honestly the way it should be, right?
Yeah, I'm about to say that should help. That should help a lot.
You know, but what it's gonna do, and this could be a completely different podcast, maybe in the off season, that we end up talking about is, essentially it's going to end up making student athletes employees, right? And I think that these power conferences, while they, on one hand, like the transfer portal because they get to recruit a new team every single year, and they don't have to develop players. They can just go out and pick up the best talent, like what Ohio State did, just go out and take out all the best players and say, come here and try and win a national championship. I think there's another side of it where these coaches, these conferences would rather maybe see contracts locked in to prevent that from happening every single year. So if they become employees that are getting revenue sharing, I think that the next step is you're a student athlete, but you're signing a contract to come play for 3 years or something like that.
I was about to say, is it going to be for years? No, is that you think they're going to put years on it?
I think so. If they try and reduce the transfer portal, I think that they would put like a 3-year contract after 3 years. Well, if they're officially getting paid and they're getting paid as employees, right? If they're getting revenue sharing, there's a case that I'm sure can be made by the people in power to put that in place. And
you make a great case, you know, but I just don't see athletes locking themselves in, you know what I'm saying, with the day and age and how the portal is, and I can make $2 million at Michigan and then go make $5 million at Notre Dame. You know what I'm saying? I just don't see them signing those. You know what I mean? I just don't see them signing that. I don't see. That's just me.
But it could also be a safeguard. But it could be a safeguard from them running into situations where they're promised all this stuff and they get there and they don't get it at the same time, right? Because there's only a select couple players that are actually getting the big NIL money, and the majority of the players just kind of get the scraps, right?
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
You know, I don't know. I'll be interested to see, but to me that feels like the direction that college football is going is more of basically becoming at least the power conferences, the SEC, the Big Ten, the Big 12.
Yeah, they just met as well too. I mean, they're already going to be talking about like scheduling non-conference games against each other or some type of challenge.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to happen in our lifetime for sure.
Yeah, I was just telling my cousin the other day, like, like in a couple years, it ain't gonna be nothing but two conferences.
Yeah.
Big Ten,
Combined, it'll be like an
SEC.
NFC versus
And the
AFC is the SEC. Basically, it's going to be
Yeah.
a semi-pro league. It's what we're looking at, which is
Yep.
good. I mean,
Yeah,
the
and
NCAA can kick rocks, so
I think that's gonna mess up college football in a big way.
It will,
Probably.
and
it's going to be a lot of different things.
and
but-
you know, and like I said, this could make up an entire podcast that
Yeah, for
we
sure.
could talk about
For
is
sure.
the direction. But let's talk defense, right? So we talked about offense and what we need to see out of our offense. Defense. So while our offense has been one of the worst passing offenses in college football, like service academy style, like Air Force and Navy and Army passing offense, our defense has also been one of the worst passing defenses in college football, and that's been happening with a very successful defensive line in front four, and with Will Johnson on the field. So looking ahead, start with you, Jason. What does the defense need to do to get back on track for the second half of the season, starting with Illinois this week?
Well, I mean, one, I don't really like some of the packages or just some of the designs that Wink has on certain downs as well too. But I don't think he's helping our secondary out. I know the offense has been kind of putting them in tight spots with short yard positions, but at the same time, I mean, we're not used to seeing like this type of defense basically. So I know we're going to talk about the secondary more coming up for this week, but it's just not discipline. It doesn't seem like it just seems like there's a lack of communication as well too. But I think we've missed like what 44 or 40 some tackles this year.
Yeah.
I want to say like 46 or 49 or something like that. I heard.
What the hell? Like, what are we doing? Like, so it's like a big part of this is coaching. And it definitely needs to be fixed. I mean, we have definitely on defense. Like I said, I know the offense is putting us in some tight positions here, but like, I'm just not about Wink right now. I'm just not. We have the talent on defense. I know there's questions on offense. We're gonna see more of that maybe answered this coming weekend, but you cannot tell me you can't do shit with the talent you have on defense right now. I know we got like 5 players in the secondary out right now, but like including more, but like you've got to be kidding me, man. This has to be coaching, in my opinion. I know there's got to be execution. I get that, blah, 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 blah. But this is a big part of coaching right now, and it's got to be fixed. You had the bye week. We got a real tough stretch second half of the season, but he's got to get this shit turned around like real quick, or I want him out. I'm not a fan of him right now. So a big part of it is coaching. So
no. Before I go, let me ask you this though, both of y'all. Before I go, talk about defense. Now if y'all was players, right, and I was y'all coach, but y'all knew I was putting y'all in bad positions, right? Would y'all play as hard?
Yeah.
I still want to like make. Yeah, go ahead.
So
I'm about to say you play sports too, Derek. So you know what I'm saying.
Right.
Would you play as hard? Like
so yes, absolutely. So for multiple reasons, right? So number one, the players they get close with their position coaches from a standpoint of that's who they spend their time with, right? And so as a young college player, your schedule is crazy, right? You're playing a college sport is a full-time job, so they're up at 5:30 in the morning and they're to morning workouts and they're to morning team meals, team breakfast, right? And they've got a great facility that they get all this stuff in. And they're watching film together and they're in meetings with their position coaches. And then they're in the classroom and then they're in more meetings, watching more film, and then they're out on the practice field. Right. And so they get really close with the coaches. And they like the trust is always there. Right. Inside the building for the most part. with a few exceptions, the trust is always there that the coaches are going to keep teaching you to become a better player. The coaches are going to keep motivating you. But the second thing for playing hard is you develop a brotherhood with each other, and you fight, right? Like one of the things that people don't realize is that competition is so strong that, man, I would love to hear some of the stories about some of the fights that have taken place in Michigan football practices over the years, because I played Division III college football, and every Tuesday was the only day of the week that we went full pads. And almost every single Tuesday we had some sort of fight during practice. It never left the practice field. It never went back to the locker room. It sometimes it was two best friends, two roommates, offensive lineman, defensive lineman, right? You just go out and you compete as hard as you can. So all off season you work as hard as you can together. All off season you compete as hard as you can together, right? So regardless of how things are going, even if there is some distrust happening with the coaches, guys go out and they're gonna play for each other, right? So I think that even if they feel like they're not being put in the best position, I think that the effort shouldn't go away, because that's for each other, and that's also what it means to wear maize and blue, right? Like that's an expectation of the identity of being a Michigan football player.
I was reading that shit on Twitter. I'm just like, well, yeah, that's kind of a good way to look at it. If I know don't like my coach, what my coach doing, I'm not gonna play as hard. But I'm like, oh, maybe not. I'm like, I'll ask tonight on the podcast. So I just thought I'll ask. But go ahead.
And you got to think that they also have aspirations of where they want to be, right? And those aspirations don't get met if they take plays off, or if they don't work hard, right?
For
so
sure.
You know that locker room, you know that when a kid goes to Michigan, and cracks it too deep or becomes a starter at Michigan, you know that in their mind they're thinking, I'm going to the league, or I want to go to the league, or I'm going to do what I
want to go. Yeah, for sure.
You know, so I don't think that's a thing.
All right, so on defense, man, I think we need to play a mistake-free 4 quarters. I think our defense is gonna fuel our offense, like it always does. I think our back end needs to tighten up. I wish we still had Keon Sabb and Rob Moore back there. I think we need that leadership back there. Not saying Makari not a leader or nothing, but I just think we need that veteran leadership back there. I think it'd be a whole nother outlook on it if our veteran leadership like Rob Moore and Keon Sabb was there. What's his name? Is it Hall? Not the starter Hill, but yeah,
Amir Hall.
I think he needs to get more playing time. I know he was injured the last game, but I think he needs to. I like how he been playing this season, so I think we need to get him a little bit more reps. I just don't know, man, because like I said, with the way things been going, I gotta see it, man. I'm tired of saying what we need to do and then we don't do it. So like I just need to see it, man. And right now, just like Jason said, is Wink. Like Wink, again, man, he's supposed to be the godfather of this defense, man. And it's like we done went back a couple years. And everybody keeps saying Don Brown defense. But do y'all understand Don Brown kept us in the like top 5, top 10 defense every year? Y'all might not like him because he was
that's why I like him, but then
I was about to say everybody might not like him because he blitzed a lot.
I'm starting to like Don Brown a little bit better.
Like I was about to say, Don Brown kept us in top 10 defenses every year. You know what I mean? So, like I said, man, I don't know. We just gotta. I don't know. We'll see. I can't tell you. I just say mistake free. That's the best I can tell you right now, because man, I just don't. I don't know. Like I don't know. And I think we, like I said, and give Hall a little bit more
Yeah, I
reps.
agree with that too.
And then that's all I can say for right now for the defense. I just don't know. Stop blitzing so much too. Stop blitzing so much too, man. It's
Right.
we can get to the quarterback with 4.
I agree.
And stupid,
You know what I'm saying?
and stupid like certain plays too. Like why? We don't need it. We don't need it.
You know what I'm saying. And then
A
if
lot
you
of
do
times-
blitz, stop blitzing at the wrong time. It's like you blitz at the wrong time.
We're blitzing the front 4, and they're doing. I mean, we're not blitzing just with the front 4 doing their job. It almost seems like we're doing better with getting to the quarterback than we are actually when we're blitzing because guys are getting in the way.
Yes,
like,
man. I said the same thing.
Like, dude, come on, man.
And the way our corners and safeties playing, man, we need them. We don't need to have them blitzing at all. They need to be in the backfield covering.
It's almost like offense and defense. I feel like they're like just throwing like a dart, like play calling. It's almost like they're just throwing a dart at the dartboard. It's just it's getting.
That's why I
said
like man, I don't understand how our team can look, how our team looked from last year to this year. I understand we got a massive overhaul.
Especially
you know what
on
I'm
defense.
saying? But come on, man.
Defense should
like,
not, especially like.
Man.
What did I say on the first pod, guys? Like secondary is like a position group I was like always like kind of weary about. This year I was not. We have the names back there. We have the talent.
Bro. That wasn't even at the beginning of the season. I don't even think that was one of our weaknesses.
Like almost a fan. I've never worried about it.
I don't think that was one of our weaknesses for none of us, bro. That's crazy.
It's communication. It's coaching. It's like get this. Link has got to get this ship corrected here.
I think we were more concerned about the line on defense than we was the cornerbacks this year. Like we was more concerned like who gonna step up with Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant.
With how deep they were. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. But it's been a cornerbacks and you know what I'm saying. Like I mean, Will made that stupid pass interference. I mean, but I don't blame that on him, man. He couldn't see the ball. You know, natural reaction just to grab. You know what I'm saying? He didn't want to have him score the touchdown already.
I mean, it shouldn't even came down to it. I mean, you know, as far as coaching goes, I feel like they don't know the talent to a point,
or they don't know coaching.
That's a good point.
I don't get it.
That's a good point, Jason. That's a good point. So. You know, I'll elaborate. I think that the most important thing is just playing fundamentally sound football. Right. I think stop blitzing on 3rd and long because it hasn't worked all season. Right. And we've gotten better pressure with our front 4 than we do when we blitz. We get picked apart when we blitz. So stop blitzing on 3rd and long. But fundamentally sound football. How many we've missed so many tackles? What 40 some. Already
40, mid to high,
we've got guys that are just out of position, right? And so some of what we've seen with Jai Harrell and Zeke Berry is just out of position. They're just missing an assignment by a little bit, and a few tweaks, just assignment sound football. Be where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. Do what you're supposed to do. Like I said, when we're talking about offense, if the other team just beats you on a play because they were better or they called the better play, that's one thing. But we're getting beat so much because we're not playing assignment sound, fundamental sound football on defense. And it's mostly in the secondary where that's taking place, with the exception of when the play call leads to being in man coverage and blitzing on 3rd down. Right. But still, players got to be able to play man coverage occasionally. That's something that the secondary has to be able to do. I would just like to see it a little less. I would like to see a little bit more of just a 4-man rush and more of keeping more guys in coverage.
Wink has toned it down like against USC, but like, dude, like even though you toned it down, it's just like your strategy on like 3rd down and long, or just certain situations. Like I'm just confused watching the game sometimes. It's like, what are you trying to do, man? I don't get it.
But Jason, you also said something You also said something that I think was really important that I meant to bring up when we were talking about offense, but it makes sense talking about defense too.
To an aspect, our coaching doesn't know our talent.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is something that maybe Sharon Moore is going to learn as a head coach, is that you can have an identity and you can live by that identity, but you have to mold that identity a little bit to what your roster is. So I think we talked about it last week on the podcast a little bit, is that, in the NFL, you get to draft guys that are that fit the exact system that you want to run. Offensive linemen that block the way that you want to block. Defensive linemen that are the size of the defense that you're trying to run, corners that are have a certain skill set, safeties that have a certain skill set to match the defense, right? In college football, players commit, so sometimes that means that guys that you targeted that were better fits maybe didn't go there, right? Really good coaches take their identity and mold it around what the strengths and weaknesses are of their roster. And sometimes it seems like on both sides of the ball, our coaching staff is saying this is our identity, but it's not, and it's not working. But they don't move away from it to make the identity match the players. They just keep saying this is our identity. We're just going to keep doing it, and you're going to get better at it. And I think that coaches have to adjust and match their identity and their scheme with the players that are trying to execute it, and that hasn't been happening. So
it's been a rough watch.
Let's pull up Corey's question here. We could break it down offensively and defensively, but we'd probably just repeat everything that we said about the offense and defense going into this week. So Corey's question is what we're going to go off of. What are the keys to beating Illinois? So getting back on track, continuing to pursue our goals for the season starts by going 1-0 this week. Right. So Jason, what do you think the keys are to beating Illinois? Because they are a good team. They're not even a sneaky good team. They're just a good team right now. They're 5-1 and ranked number 22.
Yeah, them in Indiana a little surprising this year, but good for them. I mean, basketball schools, I guess, but Illinois football got them this week. Very surprising football team. Creates a lot of challenges, I think, for us from the first 6 games that we've watched. But Illinois is 33rd in scoring defense, 43rd in passing yards allowed, and 77th in rushing defense. Big obvious right here. We're going to do what Michigan football does best, and we're going to run the rock. Yeah, we saw some light this year with the running game. It's supposed to be better, but it is what it is. But our whole line, I mean, they've created holes with Edwards against the Huskies. They got to give Tuttle some time to get the ball down the field and extend drives for us as well too. And with a hopeful creative offensive play calling game, and then hopeful balanced offense this week, especially if we can't get the running game going. But offensively, I mean, they put a lot of stats we have to get the ball down the field. Yes, our defense has issues. I'll say it again. We put them in some tight spots though throughout this whole season. The creative play calling with our key players, it has to be there. Utilizing Mullins, Loveland as well too. But the line has improved, like I said earlier in the pod. Control and take care of the ball, limit the mistakes, and also let's see some of our wide receivers create some separation, hopefully. But we need to get those guys right now at the wide receiver position with this quarterback. So 3rd time's a charm, but I think he's got better vision. He can actually throw a forward pass, but we'll see though. I think, like I said, there's a lot of questions on the offensive side of the ball, but it's kind of disappointing too. I feel like we could go on and on about this, but I feel like it's the disappointing factor is we have a solid running back room. And I really wanted to see Hall more. I really wanted to see Cabana more. I know Marshall's kind of banged up as well too, but it kind of sucks not seeing those guys out there, but a little bit more than what we're supposed to in garbage time, or even in somewhat an aspect of a game when we needed them. But that's what I need to see on offense, and it's just the mistakes, really, and the play calling.
We about to run it down their face. they
You know,
face.
so
Like, we were really about to run it down their face. That's how we gonna beat them.
Horrible in
But
rushing. I mean, they're not good.
But we can't make them simple mistakes that we make on defense, because Illinois is not a pushover team. They're a
they're
good
not.
ball club this year. So we're
They
gonna have to
are.
play mistake-free football on both sides with a brilliant running game, and we should win easily.
So
Hold on, before we go forward, I just seen my boy Aaron Judge hit a home run. How about them Yankees, baby? Yeah.
If they were playing the Tigers right now, it would already been like they're still playing game 2. It already been a 2-0 series for Detroit. So just saying.
Not at all.
But I actually want the Yankees. I know, like, I don't like the Yankees, but like I don't want to see Cleveland going any further. Any team from Ohio, like I care less.
Yeah,
So
how about them Yankees?
Go Yankees right now.
Yeah.
Go Yankees right now.
I agree. But hey, I think keys to the game. I think you're both right. Right, running the rock, protecting the football, not turning the ball over. I think that's what we're going to do. We're not going to go away from that identity. I don't care who our quarterback is. Our identity is still going to be to run the rock and to run the rock with Mullins and Edwards. But I think another sneaky key to the game to talk about is the challenge on the Illinois side to prepare for Michigan's offense this week. So they've got game film on one offense that was run with Davis Warren being the starting quarterback. Film on another offense that was run with Orji as the starting quarterback. And now the expectation is that Tuttle is the starting quarterback, and there's no game film with him as the starting quarterback, just the come from 14 points behind last week. So I think that a key factor that should be considered that's a positive in Michigan's side of things is Illinois might not have the easiest week of preparation for what they're going to see out of Michigan's offense, because they don't know what do they study. They can't study they can study a little bit of the Orchie film, but not fully, right? And is it going to be the Davis Warren film, because he was kind of limited? So I is it last year's film? Is it watching film on what Michigan's offense did with JJ?
Yep.
In the scenario that maybe Tuttle is
You're not going to know what to expect.
Quarterback. So I think that's going to be
if they come out, if we come out vanilla how we been coming out, they know what to expect.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, it's
that's why I said ish.
It's Michigan. We're gonna come out. We're gonna run the ball up the middle on first down.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna throw the ball for some reason on 2nd and 3 because we're gonna get 7 yards on first down, and then we're gonna run the ball up the middle on 3rd down, and either have 4th and inches or barely get a first down. That's going to be the first 3 plays of the game. But I think another key to beat Illinois is that Tuttle has to become a passing threat. That there has to be receivers that get involved in the game, because we're going, even though Illinois' defense is weaker against the run, they're going to come in and they're going to play their run. That's what they're going to be dedicated to stopping. So we've got to be able to back them off a little bit. And look what happened to Michigan's running game when Tuttle came in against Washington. They backed off, and Michigan's running game opened up. Right. So I think that we have to develop a passing threat. And defensively,
the whole year, yeah.
Defensively, I think we need to dial back on the blitzing, and I think that I think we really need to focus on playing fundamentally sound football. Let our front four do what they do and dominate the line of scrimmage, and try and keep our secondary protected, and try and keep them in positions where we're not isolating them into man coverage and allowing them to read and react and just play football.
They're going to pass. For sure. I mean, so they're ranked like they're going to attack us in the air regardless, but I mean, they're ranked 58th in the passing attack. I mean, we're ranked 3rd in, I mean, we already kind of talked about, but 3rd in the country in rushing, 110th in passing yards allowed. So they're for sure going to be darting the ball down the field. Absolutely. Yeah. So we're going to be challenged in the secondary, so we got to dial back the blitzes regardless.
And this might sound crazy, but Brett is doing a good job in Illinois right now. I can't even, what I'm saying, lie to you about that. Like
He
he
can
is,
build a
like
good
he is,
program.
hey,
Where, I mean,
they shocking me. You know what I mean? I
yeah,
did not come into this season like Illinois. We got to
they're
worry about them on the
5-1.
schedule.
Yeah.
But baby, man, I'm like, man, what is
So-
it? How we playing too? I'm just man.
I don't like Brett Bielema. I agree. I didn't like him at Wisconsin, and I don't like him at Illinois. But he is a good coach. Just like I don't like Greg Schiano at I don't like Greg Schiano at Rutgers, but he's a good coach. And honestly, the Big Ten, Big Ten's a better football conference with those guys coaching teams in the Big Ten. Just like even PJ Fleck at Minnesota, right? The Big Ten is a better conference with good coaches at programs that are
I like
mid-tier
PJ
programs.
Fleck.
I like PJ Fleck too.
But
I do. Like PJ
I'm
Fleck.
sorry, but I think he needs to get fired at Minnesota, bro. He be losing
He
some
doesn't
games.
adjust. He doesn't adjust. Man.
I like PJ Fleck, but man, I don't think he need to be a head coach. I think he need like an offensive coordinator or something. I don't know, or defense. I don't know.
He does,
Whatever he's good at.
But look at the handicap. Look at the handicap that he's playing with. Minnesota will never ever be able to recruit football at the same level as Michigan and Ohio State and Oregon and USC, right? So he's taking low level recruits, right? Right, primarily like 3-star recruits that go to Minnesota are studs going to Minnesota, and he's been competitive. He's been competitive with them. So
yeah, for sure.
Back to Brett too. Like, I mean, he's definitely like, I don't really like him. Never met him personally, but I don't like him at all, actually. But he's put together like he's a good football coach. He's put together a good football program and a good coaching staff as well too. That quarterback that's playing with them right now is playing lights out with 14 touchdowns and 1 interception. He was like turnover Jesus last year. He was absolutely horrible. I mean, he's definitely got these players bought in for sure, and they're 5-1 right now. It's like I said, I'm going to say it for the 11th time.
And last week they won. They won on some real
They had two overtimes. They had two overtimes this year, so they're finding a way to win. I mean, it's a good
man.
It's a
that's
good
what I'm saying, man. They
tested.
tested.
Yep,
they tested for sure.
So we're gonna be. We gotta wake up. We had a bye week. We gotta wake up.
All right, guys. Score predictions. Jason, get us started.
Michigan fan, 156-0 Michigan. Football fan, 28-17 Michigan. Always.
Dre, what about you?
Oh wow, I got it 24-17.
Yeah. So
that's crazy.
No kidding here.
I got it 24-17.
Last 3 weeks.
No, man. Hey, I swear to God. I wanted him to ask. I wanted him to ask me first. I swear I did. I'm like, man, don't ask me first. All
right, Derek. Ask Trey next week then. Ask Trey next week first.
So I'm right there.
Are still in front of us. Like the door's barely open, but they're in front of us, and it's going to be a tough rest of the schedule. But they're there.
I'm right there with you guys. My prediction is 27-17. I think we play good offensively. I think that we settle for a few field goals, and I think that they give us a scare late and make the game feel like it's going to become closer than what it needs to be. But
we've seen all year, almost all year.
27-17.
Hey, Jason, what you say yours was? 28-17?
28-17, yeah.
And I said 24 and you said 27.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
28,
I like that.
And then you said 20. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. We're gonna see. Let's see who comes the closest.
You're going third. That. I'm going third next week.
Yeah, I'm going first. Let me go first. You go first.
Sounds good. All right, Jay, you want to sign us off?
Thank y'all for watching. We'll be giving y'all dope content every week. Please like and subscribe. Hit your notification bell so you won't miss an episode. And y'all know what I say. Love one another, respect one another, and always go blue.
Go blue.